Let us begin with a truth that may shake you. The person you are today is the very reason you are not yet the person you wish to become. The habits you've built, the fears you've nursed, the excuses you've made, they are not your allies. They are chains, and so I tell you, if you truly desire transformation, you must do something few dare to do. Kill your old self. Yes, destroy the version of you that has tolerated mediocrity. Bury the version that clings to comfort while your dreams wither from neglect. End the life of the person who settles for less when life is offering more, because until that version dies, the life you deserve cannot begin. There is no evolution without destruction, no rising without burning away the parts of you that were built on fear, on doubt, on failure, and resignation. Understand this. Your current reality is the sum total of your repeated decisions. If your world is small, it is because your vision is small. If your days are heavy, it is because you've carried burdens that were never yours to carry. And if your soul is restless, it is because it knows you were meant for something far greater. But you cannot build a palace on a foundation of ruins. You cannot construct greatness on top of old regrets. So, before you set out to create the life you deserve, take stock of the life you've been living. Look it in the eye, identify everything that must go, and then, with conviction, not hesitation, let it go. Let go of the habits that waste your precious time. Let go of the relationships that drain your energy. Let go of the stories you tell yourself that keep you small. Let go of the lie that says, this is just how life is, because life is not something that happens to you. Life is something you build, and you are the builder, but you must rebuild from the ashes of your former self. And to do that, you must declare a new identity, one not tied to your past, but bound to your potential. One that is born not of your circumstances, but of your decision to rise. So what does this new self look like? It is bold, it is disciplined, it walks into fear and commands it to step aside. It values truth over comfort. It does not beg for approval or settle for scraps. It creates, it believes, it acts, and above all it endures, because building the life you deserve is not a casual endeavor. It is war, it is struggle. It is persistence in the face of fatigue. It is sacrifice when others are indulging. It is faith when the outcome is uncertain, and it is progress. Slow, steady, unstoppable progress, one day at a time. You were not born to coast through life. You were not meant to tiptoe to the grave while your gifts remain unopened. There is something inside you, a calling, a fire, a divine spark, that refuses to be extinguished. That is why you feel restless. That is why you are unsatisfied. That is why something within you keeps whispering, more is possible. So stop running from that voice. Start honoring it. Draw the line today. Not tomorrow, not next year, today. Say goodbye to the old self, the one who procrastinates, who doubts, who waits for permission, and say hello to the new self, the one who dares, who acts, who conquers. Yes, you will have to leave behind the familiar. Yes, you will feel discomfort. But what is discomfort compared to a life unlived? What is fear compared to dying with regret? What is temporary pain compared to permanent purpose? You want freedom, then earn it. You want peace, then fight for it. You want success, then forge yourself into the kind of person who can command it. And never forget, success is not something you chase. Success is something you attract by becoming worthy of it. So kill your old self, not with anger, but with clarity, not with bitterness, but with truth, not with hatred, but with vision, and then build. Build the morning routine that sharpens your focus. Build the discipline that carves your character. Build the mindset that refuses to quit. Build the relationships that lift you higher. Build the habits that lead to mastery. Build the mission that gives your life meaning, and as you build, understand this. The life you deserve is not somewhere out there waiting. It is already inside you, waiting for you to become the person strong enough to claim it. So begin, not next week, not when it's convenient. Begin now, because you are not here to live in the shadow of your old self. You are here to rise, to build, to conquer, to create a life that echoes beyond your name. A life that proves one truth to the world: you didn't just live, you transformed. The first and most vital truth one must accept on the road to transformation is this: the person you are today is standing in the way of the person you are destined to become. Your present self, your current habits, beliefs, routines, fears, and decisions is not an innocent bystander in your journey. It is the gatekeeper, it is the wall. And unless you confront it with absolute honesty, you will remain bound within the same limits, repeating the same cycles, and wondering why the life you dream of feels so far away. This is not a judgment, it is a revelation. It is a hard light shining into the corners of your life where comfort has bred stagnation. For you must realize that the self you are now was shaped not for greatness, but for survival. It was molded by your past experiences, your conditioning, your upbringing, and the environments you've tolerated. It is the product of reaction, not creation, and as long as you cling to that version of yourself, you will remain confined by its limitations. You cannot carry the weight of your old identity and expect to rise into a higher destiny. That is like expecting a tree to grow taller while refusing to let go of dead branches. The law of life is progress, but progress requires release. You must be willing to let go of who you've been in order to give birth to who you were meant to be. This is the beginning of real growth, the painful but liberating death of the old self. Now ask yourself, sincerely, who is this old self that must be confronted? It is the voice that whispers doubt every time you dare to dream. It is the hand that hits the snooze button when your goals require early rising. It is the pattern of making excuses instead of taking action. It is the habit of comfort, the addiction to distractions, the tendency to delay what you know must be done. It is the version of you that seeks validation rather than truth, the version that waits for perfect conditions instead of creating them. The version that says, someday, while your life passes by today, understand this: your old self is not evil, it is simply outdated. It was built for a time when survival mattered more than success, when fitting in was safer than standing out, when playing small felt more secure than daring to be great. But that time has passed, and now that self must be dismantled, not with hatred, but with purpose, not with shame, but with resolve. For no amount of external change will matter unless you first alter the internal blueprint. A new job, a new relationship, a new city. These will crumble under the weight of the same mindset that built your old life. Real transformation is not cosmetic. It is foundational. It starts in the mind. It begins when you say, I refuse to live another day under the authority of my lesser self. This is the spiritual death required for rebirth. This is the sacred surrender of the false self, the self that plays small, the self that hides. It is not comfortable, it is not easy, but it is essential, because until you face yourself, you cannot change yourself. Until you confront your comfort zone, you will never step into your power zone. There is only one question you must answer today: am I willing to die to the self I've known in order to become the self I was created to be? If the answer is yes, then your journey has begun, not with fireworks, but with fire, not with applause, but with awareness, the awareness that your life is your responsibility, your potential is real, and your limitations are self-imposed. Do not waste another day feeding the old self. Starve it, deny it, expose it, and begin building the new self, not just in thought, but in action, in discipline, in commitment. Every moment you act in alignment with your higher self, the old self loses its power. Every time you choose courage over comfort, growth over ease, responsibility over excuses, you chip away at the prison walls you once called personality. This is the quiet revolution of transformation. It begins in solitude, it begins in decision, and it begins when you declare, once and for all, that you are no longer available for the life you've outgrown. The old self has served its time, now let it rest in peace, so that you may rise in power. There is a natural law that governs all growth, all evolution, and all transformation. It is the law of sacrifice. Before the new can emerge, the old must be removed. Before greatness can be built, weakness must be demolished. You cannot construct the life you desire upon the ruins of the life you've merely tolerated. The foundation must be cleared, the ground must be made ready, and this means that destruction must come before construction. Too many individuals wish to improve their lives without ever examining what must be eliminated. They dream of rising while refusing to release the weights that hold them down. They speak of success, but their lives remain cluttered with the habits, relationships, and beliefs that sabotage it. You cannot plant seeds in soil choked with weeds and expect a fruitful harvest. The weeds must be pulled first. You must understand that everything in your current life, your circumstances, your results, your emotional state, is a reflection of the structures you've built internally and externally. If you are not satisfied with your life, it is not a sign that you must add more. It is a sign that you must first remove what no longer serves you, and that removal requires courage. It requires a willingness to confront what is broken, outdated, and limiting. There is no easy way around this. The life you desire cannot be layered on top of the life you've settled for. It's like trying to build a skyscraper on top of a crumbling shack. It won't hold. The weight of your new vision will collapse under the instability of your old patterns. Ask yourself what must be destroyed. Perhaps it is a belief you've held since childhood that you are not worthy, not smart enough, not strong enough. Perhaps it is the habit of procrastination, the ritual of scrolling, the cycle of comparison, the fear of judgment, the addiction to comfort. Perhaps it is the relationship that drains your energy, or the job that stifles your soul, or the environment that drowns your ambition. Whatever it is, name it, and once named, be bold enough to face it. Not later, not when you feel ready, but now. Because if you wait for the perfect moment to clear the ground, you will wait forever. Destruction is never convenient, growth is never painless, but it is always worth it. This is the great paradox of achievement. To gain everything, you must first be willing to lose. You must lose the part of yourself that resists change. You must lose the comfort of certainty. You must lose the approval of those who fear your growth. You must lose the small thinking that has kept you contained. Only then can you gain clarity, power, direction, and the life that was always possible. Once you got out of your own way, and here lies another truth. Destruction, when done with purpose, is not chaos. It is order in disguise. It is preparation. It is the sacred tearing down of the false to make space for the true. Fire, though it burns, also purifies. The storm may rage, but it clears the air. The collapse is not the end. It is the beginning of rebuilding, this time with intention and vision. So don't fear the process of letting go. Don't mourn the pieces that fall away. Celebrate them, for they are making space for the better, the stronger, the higher version of your life. Recognize that what you destroy with purpose is what was already destroying you slowly, by suffocating your dreams, distracting your mind, and draining your spirit. Look around your life with a builder's eye. Ask yourself, is this worth keeping? Does this habit, this thought, this relationship, this environment support the life I am constructing? If the answer is no, tear it down, clear the ground, make room. You are not here to merely add a few improvements to a weak structure. You are here to level the ground, dig deep, and lay a new foundation, one of purpose, discipline, truth, and relentless progress. Only then can you build a life that is not temporary, not fragile, but unshakable. So embrace the fire, embrace the pain of release, because what comes after, the strength, the clarity, the momentum, is worth every ounce of discomfort you will face. You were not made to live inside a shell of who you used to be. You were made to evolve, to create, to build again, this time without the weight of the past holding you back. Let the old fall, let the false burn. And from the ashes, build wisely, build bravely, build better. There is a tragic illusion that grips the minds of millions, a belief that life is something that simply happens to them, that success is a matter of luck, that greatness is reserved for the chosen few, that they must wait for the right time, the right opportunity, the right miracle, and so they wait, day after day, year after year, waiting for a door to open while holding no intention to knock, waiting for change while refusing to act. They become spectators in a game they were born to play, but this is not how life was designed to work. Life is not a matter of chance. Life is a matter of choice. Life does not unfold by accident. It responds to initiative. It bends to the will of the one who dares to take ownership. The builder does not wait for the perfect brick to appear on its own. He chooses the materials, sets the vision, and begins constructing one layer at a time. So too must you recognize that you are not a passive participant in your own existence. You are the architect of your destiny. There is nothing noble in drifting. There is no glory in hesitation. Every day that passes without direction is a day surrendered to default. And default living is a quiet kind of death. The man or woman who lives reactively, always responding, never initiating, becomes a prisoner of circumstance. But the individual who takes command, who dares to move even when the path is uncertain, who acts in spite of fear, that person shapes their world. Do not misunderstand this law. Life is not unfair. Life is obedient. It is not cruel. It is responsive. It gives to you what you demand from it. No more, no less. If you bring forth weakness, it will return hardship. If you approach it with boldness, it will open doors you never imagined. But only to the builder, only to the one who acts. Action is the key that unlocks the vault of potential. You can dream grand visions. You can read every book, attend every seminar, pray with great sincerity. But without action, nothing changes. Because thought alone cannot carve new realities into the world, action is the bridge between intention and manifestation, and that bridge must be crossed daily. What you must understand is this: the life you are living right now is not the result of a singular moment. It is the compound effect of repeated choices. You chose what to focus on. You chose who to listen to. You chose whether to work or rest, whether to speak truth or remain silent, whether to commit or delay. Every small decision has led you here, and every future decision will lead you either closer to your potential or further from it. This is a liberating truth, because if you built the life you now feel trapped in, you can also build the life you long for. And you can begin the process not tomorrow, but today, right now, with what you have where you are. You do not need permission. You do not need applause. You need resolve. You need the will to act, not once, but consistently. You must decide what kind of life you want, and then take steps that align with that vision, even when no one is watching, even when the results are not immediate, even when you feel uncertain, because the momentum you build through action is stronger than the paralysis of doubt. Action breeds clarity. Movement creates opportunity. Each time you take a step forward, the fog clears, the path begins to reveal itself. Not all at once, but enough for the next step, and that is all you ever need, the next step. Stop asking, what if it doesn't work? And start asking, what happens if I never try? Stop wishing for a guarantee, and instead become the guarantee. Be the person who shows up, who executes, who builds without excuse or apology. The one who understands that every swing of the hammer, every moment of discipline, every decision to move forward is a brick laid in the foundation of a life worth living. And understand this above all: the life you desire is not hidden. It is not locked away from you. It is waiting for you to create it. Brick by brick, day by day, choice by choice. You are not here to drift. You are here to build, so start building. The greatest leap a man or woman will ever make is not a step taken in the outer world. It is the moment they declare a new identity from within. All permanent change begins not with action, but with identity. You will never consistently behave in a way that contradicts who you believe yourself to be. And so, if you desire to transform your circumstances, your relationships, your results, you must first transform yourself. Concept. You cannot keep calling yourself a failure and expect success to follow. You cannot identify as weak and expect to display strength. The man who says, "I'm just not that disciplined," will live a life that proves him right because identity becomes prophecy. What you affirm inwardly, you will eventually manifest outwardly. Therefore, if you are truly ready to build the life you deserve, you must be willing to bury the identity you've clung to for years, perhaps even decades, and boldly declare a new one. And let it be understood, this new identity is not a costume. It is not something you wear to impress others or to silence your critics. It is a declaration to yourself. It is a standard that you choose to live by, not because you have already achieved it, but because you are committed to becoming it. Identity is not formed by achievement. Identity is forged through decision and then proven through action. When you say, "I am no longer the person who gives up when it gets hard," you are not claiming perfection. You are claiming direction, and once that direction is declared, every action must align with it. Every thought must be filtered through it. Every choice must reinforce it. That is how identity becomes reality. The tragedy is that most people live from their past. They define themselves by old stories, old wounds, old failures. They say, "This is just how I've always been," as though that justifies staying small. But the truth is, your past is only useful if it serves your future. If it teaches you, strengthen it. If it limits you, reject it. You are not here to relive the same cycle. You are here to evolve, to rise, to rewrite the narrative. But hear this, no one will do it for you. The world will keep treating you as you've trained it to treat you. If you carry yourself like a victim, people will expect weakness. If you carry yourself like a leader, people will expect strength. You don't change your life by waiting for others to see you differently. You change your life by seeing yourself differently first. It is a sacred moment when a person stops asking, "Who am I to do this?" and starts declaring, "I am the one who will do this." That shift is everything. It is the birthplace of power, the foundation of faith, because until you see yourself as the kind of person who can succeed, you will sabotage every effort to get there. You must become the kind of individual who wakes with purpose, who walks with conviction, who speaks with clarity. Not out of arrogance, but out of alignment, the person who knows, "I am here for a reason, I have work to do, I have value to give, I am not here to shrink, but to expand, I am not here to exist, but to build." You are not the same person who started this journey. And that's the point. The moment you declared a higher vision for your life, the old self began to fade. That version of you was never meant to finish the journey. It was only meant to initiate it. The new self must now take over. This identity is built through repeated action. Every time you act in alignment with who you say you are, you strengthen the foundation. Every time you choose discipline over distraction, truth over excuse, growth over comfort, you reinforce the identity of a builder, a leader, a creator. Let others cling to who they used to be. Let them stay comfortable in their familiar cages. You, however, are no longer available for smallness. You are here to evolve deliberately, to become the kind of person who not only dreams big, but lives big. And that begins by choosing today and every day who you are, not who you've been, not who others expect you to be, but who you decide to become. There is a cost for every worthwhile thing in life, and the greater the reward, the greater the price. The life you deserve is not found on a discounted shelf. It does not come in the form of luck or accident. It is purchased with discipline, sacrifice, and unwavering persistence. You cannot cheat your way to it. You must earn it, and you earn it by paying daily in effort. The moment you decide to rise above mediocrity, you declare war against everything within you that is soft, weak, fearful, and undisciplined. Make no mistake, your old self will resist. Comfort will whisper in your ear. Distractions will knock at your door, and the world around you will tempt you to settle for good enough. But you are not after good enough. You are after something greater, a life forged in purpose, built with blood and sweat and vision. And to build that life, you must be willing to do what most won't. That is the law, that is the code. Not because the universe is cruel, but because greatness demands a furnace. It demands you prove that you can handle the pressure, endure the boredom, overcome the delays, and still march forward when nothing around you gives applause. The life you deserve doesn't respond to wishes, it responds to work. And that work is not glamorous, it is not always inspiring. Sometimes it is repetition, sometimes it is silence, often it is showing up when you'd rather quit, often it is saying no when it would be easier to say yes. Discipline is not born in the spotlight. Discipline is formed in the shadows, where no one sees you grind, no one sees you sweat, and no one sees you struggle. But still, you move. Success is not given. It is rented, and the rent is due every single day. The question is, are you willing to pay it? Are you willing to rise before the sun while others sleep? Are you willing to practice when others play? Are you willing to delay pleasure, postpone comfort, and deny yourself temporary satisfaction in the name of long-term freedom? If you are not, then you must stop dreaming, because dreams without sacrifice are fantasies, and fantasies do not build empires. Every champion, every builder, every master of their craft became that way not because of talent alone, but because they submitted themselves to the daily discipline of growth. They built routines around progress. They chose structure over chaos. They understood that the hard road may not be fast, but it is sure. Sacrifice is the price you pay to become someone greater. You must be willing to give up what feels good now for what will feel right later. That may mean cutting ties with people who do not share your vision. That may mean walking away from entertainment, from comfort foods, from mindless distractions. It may mean facing yourself, your flaws, your patterns, and doing the painful work of reshaping your life at the core. But hear this, sacrifice does not mean suffering without reward. It means investing in your future self. You give up what is small to claim what is great. You trade the fleeting for the eternal. You sow seeds today so that you may harvest tomorrow. The weak look at sacrifice and see loss. The strong look at sacrifice and see power. Power over their impulses, power over their laziness, power over the tendency to retreat when things get hard. And when you gain that kind of power, when you master your own desires, you become unstoppable. Because nothing external can shake the man or woman who has conquered themselves. The pain of discipline is temporary, but the pain of regret, that is forever. The time will pass either way. The only question is whether you will pass with it or whether you will use it to become something extraordinary. You are capable of much more than you believe, but capability alone is not the deciding factor. Your willingness to endure, to persist when tired, to rise when discouraged, to act when afraid, that is the measure of your future. So if you want the life you deserve, do not search for it in books alone. Do not look for it in others. Look for it in your routine. Look for it in your calendar. Look for it in how you treat your hours, your minutes, your thoughts. Because the life you build is the result of how you discipline your time and sacrifice for your vision. Make that choice, pay the price, and build what only you can build. There is no moment more powerful than now. Not tomorrow, not next week. Not when you feel more confident, more ready, more inspired. Now is all you will ever truly possess, and what you do with now determines everything about your future. The great mistake of those who never rise is the belief that there will be a better time to begin. They wait for clarity, they wait for courage, they wait for signs, for mentors, for some magical alignment of circumstances, and while they wait, life moves on without them, opportunities vanish, energy fades. The dream withers, and slowly regret takes root where action should have. But those who understand the laws of success do not wait, they act, even when it's inconvenient, even when it's messy, even when the outcome is uncertain. They move forward, not because the conditions are perfect, but because they know perfection is an illusion. Waiting for perfection is a strategy of paralysis. Action, imperfect, bold, relentless action, is the only path forward. You must train yourself to become a person of execution, a person who hears the call of their vision and responds immediately, a person who honors their word first and foremost to themselves, because delay is a thief. Procrastination is not a neutral act. It is destruction in disguise. Every time you delay your greatness, you empower your limitations. Every time you postpone the next step, you strengthen the grip of the old life you're trying to escape. The truth is, the life you're dreaming of will not meet you halfway. It will not knock politely on your door. It must be pursued, it must be claimed, and it must be earned by action, not by wishing. The more you wait, the more you convince your mind that it's acceptable to live beneath your potential, and what the mind accepts, the body follows. So you must break the habit of delay. You must sever the addiction to waiting. There is no right mood for growth. There is only the decision to act in the moment and let your commitment carry you through. Discipline is not the result of motivation. It is the result of identity and choice. You act because that's who you are now. You begin because that's what builders do. You follow through because your future demands it. Consider this: everything you've ever wanted is sitting on the other side of a decision you've been avoiding. That decision will never be easier. The excuses will always feel valid. The timing will always feel just a little off, and so you must ask yourself, how long am I willing to stay stuck just to protect the illusion of comfort? The beginning will not be glorious. It may be quiet. It may be lonely. It will almost certainly be difficult. But it is in the difficulty that strength is forged. It is in the discomfort that clarity is born. Every time you begin, especially when it's hard, you send a message to your subconscious: I am no longer ruled by fear. I am no longer ruled by old habits. I am no longer the same. This is how transformation begins. Not with fireworks, but with a decision. Not with applause, but with discipline. And not someday. Now, the builders of empires, the creators of movements, the achievers of greatness. They are not superhuman. They simply decided to begin when others hesitated. They stepped forward when others shrank back. They understood that waiting for readiness was just another form of fear dressed in reason. You are capable of the same. But capability is not enough. You must decide, and then you must act. Don't wait for the new year or the next course or the perfect plan. Make a move today. Make a phone call. Change your routine. End the habit. Begin the practice. Build momentum. Not in your mind, but in the real world where results are forged. You do not need to know every step. You only need to take the next one. Success reveals itself along the path, not before it. Begin where you are, with what you have right now. Time is not waiting, neither should you.